Hey everyone, Happy New Year. In this video, I'm going to give a quick update on Cpeak for 2026 and see what are our plans for it moving forward. Now, you might remember the framework, or you might have just gotten here from the previous video, but I took a break from the Cpeak framework for about a year, but now I'm back on it, and we're going to go with it. We're going to go very strongly, and our goal is still to end up with one of the best node frameworks on the internet, something that we're going to use ourselves for our new projects, all right? So we're going to have to make it so good that people and other developers would start to prefer Cpeak over other frameworks for their own applications, all right? So we're going to make it more performant than the other options, make it in a better package, and just keep improving it until we get to that point. All right, so that is still our goal despite the break. Now, I have another very exciting project to announce that we're going to work on alongside Cpeak, so we're going to develop both in parallel, and this one is going to be something that's not meant to be used by developers only, meaning that we're going to build a real-world product that anyone can use. So your friends, your family, people who are not even technical should be able to use this other application, and it will be powered by Cpeak. And we want to also make that one to be the best in its own field. And by building this other product, we're going to also build Cpeak and learn about some of the things that we got to take care of for our framework that it's very hard for us to realize when we are not working in the real world environment. All right. So this other product, it's called Weer. You can check it out right now by going into weer.pro, and it's a URL shortener app. And we want to make it to be one of the best. Now, you might be thinking that a URL shortener app is way too simple to make, and you can build one over the weekend. And we also have thousands of them on the internet, all right? So what's the point with this? Now, I'm going to tell you that you'd be very surprised to learn how complicated it's going to get very quickly. Because again, our goal is not just to create a URL shortener app. Our goal is to create the best one. And, well, that's one heck of a challenge to try to pull off. But we're going to go at it. And, well, best is a very subjective term. But what I mean by that is if you pick random people from the street, just a randomized survey, and you show them a dozen different applications. You show them the best URL shortener apps that we have on the internet, including ours, and you demo every single last one of them to that group of people. And if about 20 to 30% of them pick our application and say that this is their preferred way of doing that process, shortening links and sharing links, we're going to say that we have achieved that best objective. All right. So yeah, we can't please everyone, but if we can please a good portion of the society, that's going to be good enough for us. So we're going to build this from scratch. It will be powered by Cpeak, and that's what's so special about it, that we're building this product with our own framework, and this is going to give us a whole lot of opportunities to learn about development in general and also learn how to take care of some things in Cpeak that we otherwise might not realize that we have to take care of if we are in a simulated, neat testing environment, all right? Because the real world is going to get quite ugly. We're going to have attackers. We're going to do some stress testing with millions of requests coming into our application. And yeah, we're going to have a whole lot of fun with this. We're going to see if we can hit that milestone of handling 1 million requests per second. And that's going to be quite expensive, but at least we're going to try. And set up the infrastructure, maybe on Google Clouds or Amazon Web Services, and then say that, all right, at this point, we have the auto-scaling, we have the distributed database system, and at this point, we just got to pay more to get more servers and resources if we want to handle more requests, all right? Because it could get quite expensive to handle 1 million requests per second. It could cost us hundreds of dollars per minute. So we may not be able to go that far, but at least we're going to talk about it and we're going to try. All right, let me give you a quick demo of the application right now. It's in development, so don't expect the final product. We don't even have the minimum viable product. It's just the most basic demo that I can give right now. All right, let me try to go into YouTube and let's try to imagine a case. Let's say that we're sitting around a table, we're a group of friends, maybe 10 people, and one of us, in this case me, I'm watching a video and I want to share it with everyone else, all right? So let's say maybe let me go into here, maybe sports, and then just try to grab a video that we've got. All right, so I want to go right here, and it's something niche, so if you try to search for it, it would take a little bit amount of time. And here we've got this link, so I'm going to copy it, and my goal is to share this video with everyone else around me, all right? And sure, we might have a group chat on WhatsApp, but in a lot of cases, we don't. And if you also try to send it individually to every single person, it could be a little too daunting. Not to mention that you might not have the contact info of that device that a particular person has at that point of time. All right, so here's where our application comes into play. So just go into Weer.pro. So here's what I'm going to do in this demo to share this link with everyone. I'll put that link here. We're not going to have any junk around this. All right, so just very clean. All we see here is just one input box and one button that says shorten, and that's it. All right. Okay, so now I've got this link that's valid for 2 hours. It's very easy to type out. So I'm going to now go into Weer.pro. I'm going to tell everyone around me to go into weer.pro/567. And then everyone is going to be navigated to this video. The process would take only a few seconds. We're only getting 3 digits. In this case, this is quite clean, 567. But if I regenerate, yeah, we're just generating something random, all right? And we're starting with 3 digits, and then we're going to keep going up if we exhaust our resources, right? Because we can only have so many for 3 digits. Then we're going to move on to 4, then 5, and here we can handle a few thousand ones. And then if we exhaust all of them, we're going to move on to this other type, which is valid forever. So we're not going to make them expire after 2 hours. And with this one, we can handle way more links, all right? Now, if I go into the source code, if you want to grab the source code, just scroll down here and go into its GitHub repository, okay? And if here I go into my server, and I just want to know how many links we can handle. All right, so here I've already added some comments that for this type, the 3 to 5 digits, we can in total handle 100,000 combinations, all right? So 100,000 different ones. So we can handle up to 100,000 people connecting to our server and trying to shorten links in any given 2 hours, all right? And after that point, we're going to switch to another type. All right, now I realize this is way too confusing right now to look at. There's going to be another video that I'm going to publish where I will dive much deeper into this project. We're going to have 2 video series on this channel. One of them is going to be for Cpeak. This is the one that you're watching right now. And there's going to be a separate video series dedicated to the Weer project. All right. And we're going to develop both at the same time. All right. So they're going to be developed in parallel. For Cpeak, our main focus is on Node. It's quite advanced, so you got to be an advanced Node developer if you want to follow along with this video series. And for this other one, this Weer project, this is where we're going to cover everything. And it's also quite beginner friendly. That does not mean that it's suitable only for beginners. Quite the contrary. Actually, in a lot of cases, we're going to dive into some very advanced topics because, again, we're not going to be dumbing down our solutions. We're trying to build the best URL shortener app, and that's it. Okay, so yeah, sure, we're also doing this educational process, but that is our main goal. We want to make it to be so good, so performant, so secure, that for sure we're going to have to deal with very complicated topics. And we can understand everything. Of course, it would be complicated, but that just means that instead of understanding it in 10 minutes, it would take us 1 hour, all right? So no big deal. We can still handle it. And that series is going to be way more modular than this Cpeak one. So because we're going to be talking about everything, and by that I mean we will be talking about Node, about databases, about Postgres, Redis, deployment, even React, and some front-end stuff. And we would even talk about legal stuff, right? So just about anything that goes along with launching a high-quality product. So because we're talking about everything, I want to make that playlist way more modular. So maybe if you only care about the database stuff and you don't even care about Node, you can skip right ahead, only watch those lectures. If you only care about maybe the user experience aspect, you can just go ahead and only watch those lectures, right? So it's going to be super modular. Each video is going to have chapters so you can easily skip and navigate around, all right? I will be adding prerequisites before each lecture so you're going to be covered. So yeah, for this Weer project, I'm inviting just about everyone to follow along with it. So if you care about launching software products, you can follow along with this playlist and you can learn quite a bit, even if you don't use Node. But definitely, a good portion of the playlist is going to be about Node, so you're going to have to skip a huge portion, but that's okay. We would also stick with this minimal mindset that we would not install NPM packages, so we would try our absolute best to just stick with writing code ourselves instead of just installing different packages. So if you go into the source code again and you take a look here for the server, I want to go into the router. So we've got a fair bit amount of logic here inside of this application. Right now, it's still in development. We're probably maybe 10 to 20% done with the progress, so we still have a long way to go. But in terms of the features, we're pretty much there. So all that we want to have is this very simple UI that you can go here into customize. You can go with different types. You can try to choose something of your own if you'd like. And if you go ahead and create an account and then choose a username, you can also choose another 2 types. All right, so I want to try to log in. Now, this one doesn't work yet. So the email and password, this is something we're going to handle with Cpeak. So we're going to have to build something like passport.js from scratch and then handle it. But right now, we can log in with Google. So I want to go ahead and log in pretty quick. All right, I'm now logged in. I use this account to shorten a few more links. And I've also chosen a few usernames. Now, we're going to keep track of one active username, and then we're going to keep a record of their 3 oldest usernames. So if you go ahead and you shorten link on top of your username, and then you realize that now you're in a professional environment, maybe you had a funny username, and now you want to have something a little more professional to use maybe in your work environment. So we want to give this option to users to be able to choose another one, and then use that, so switch to that one. And now they don't need to worry about their old links going expired, all right? So yeah, we've got a fair bit amount of features here, and it's going to get even more complex. We don't have features like the stat right now, but we're going to add them in the future. We have this QR code, but yeah, that's pretty much it, all right? So a fair bit amount of features, but still nothing too crazy. All right, the reality is when we try to stress test, when we try to send millions of requests, that's where it's going to get actually quite complicated. And we would also hire hackers to constantly attack our application and find issues. And as we find them, we're going to fix them. A lot of them would have to do with Cpeak. Some of them might have to do with the Weer project itself. But that's going to be a lot of fun, an immense amount of opportunities to learn. And yeah, it's going to be quite fascinating. All right, so here I want to show you the current status of Cpeak. So if you go into our server, so this is a Yarn workspace, but don't worry about it. Again, there's going to be another video on it. But if I go here to index, so here's where we are including it, along with some of the functions that we might need, utility functions, and then we're firing it up. We are here doing something to save our logs. So here, if you go, we're going to have neat logs for just about anything, including the errors. And then here, I've got an error handler, and also we're even exporting it to do some testing. All right, so Cpeak right now can handle, a project like this, a small size application, and that's pretty much all that we have here. If you go into the package, yeah, we've got a few things right here. We're going to probably get rid of this express session, cookie session, and also maybe compression, passport, and then build them in Cpeak. All right, so these features are going to be baked into the Cpeak project itself, and you just have to include functions like these to get those functionalities. So yeah, we're going to make it very minimal, but sometimes it's best to use another package. For example, this QR code, we're using it to generate these QR codes. And of course, we're not going to do it from scratch, but you get the point. And for these cases, we're going to use another package or for connecting to our database, but we still would want to keep it very simple. All right, so we have the Postgres here, but we're also developing our own mini framework for dealing with a database. All right, so we're writing straight SQL in this project. And it's going to give us a lot of opportunities to also learn quite a significant amount of things about databases. All right, I want to leave this one right now. Again, I'm going to introduce this project in greater detail later on, but feel free to just play around a little bit. If you want to go through the code, you could, but please don't try to set it up if you want, all right? I still have not added a section here where you can see how to set it up, but I'll create a video on it. I will also add a guide here so that you can get it set up in no time. But that's it right now about this project, and we're going to now move on with Cpeak. We're going to be talking about the middleware functions. We've got quite a bit amount of them here. For example, we're using them here to authenticate with Passport, and we have one here to do authentication. And then another feature that we have here in these routes, we've got these variables that we're going to discuss, and Cpeak is also now completely written in TypeScript. All right, so there's going to be more videos coming up to this playlist in this month and the future months, and we're going to discuss all of them. All right, it's going to be a whole lot of fun, right, with this project, because we also now have this real world project that everyone can use. This is going to make Cpeak way more fun to work with. All right, we're going to have attackers, we're going to have millions of users, and of course we're going to simulate them. But if we do get also a high traffic, we're not going to get that popular, but I mean, we're going to see that in action. We're going to be very transparent, and we'll have a huge amount of opportunities to do a whole lot of things with these two projects. All right, so that's a quick update on Cpeak for 2026, and thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.